Hi, Helen from crystalsandcrochet.com here, and welcome to part 4 of our Revelation Crochet Along. Okay, so we are going to finish building the corners and square our pattern off. Okay, so at this point it's possibly a little bit small for a baby blanket still, so you might, because with double knit yarn it's about 30 inches or just over, so you might want to continue on to part 5 if you're only going to do baby blanket size. Okay, let's get started. Round 46. And we are going to start the standing single crochet in the 1, 2, 3, 4th stitch of round 42 before the first stitch of round 45. We're then going to single crochet in the next, losing everything, in the next 3 stitches. Okay, and if you remember from last time, just work over to trap that tail end in that last stitch. Okay, and if you were good boys and girls, you didn't work these ends away, so you can clearly see that first stitch there. We are going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. Okay, so you're going to have 14 in total here, working from these 4 and then 10. We're then going to skip these next 2 stitches, that's your last 2 single crochet, and we're going to make a puff stitch in the next stitch. So yarn over and into that first back post single, pull up a loop, lift to the height of a double crochet. Okay, you're going to do that 4 times, so that was 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over, pinch, pull through, chain 1 to close. And then our little repeat to work around this first shell is chain 1, skip the next stitch, puff stitch in the next stitch, and you are going to do that 5 times. Okay, 3, 4, pinch, pull through and close. Okay, so it's chain 1, skip a stitch, puff stitch 5 times. And remember, the closing chain 1 to the puff stitch is part of the puff stitch. You then need to make another chain 1 for the pattern. And what are we going to do next? We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch and skip the next 2. So you've got 5 single crochets there. Skip the first 2, single into the third one, skip numbers 4 and 5. Okay, and then we're going to do the same working around the shell. So it's puff stitch in that first back loop, back post single, sorry. And remember to pull the height of your puff stitch up to a normal double crochet. Okay, so I chained 1 to close, chain 1 for the pattern, skip the next stitch and puff stitch in the next stitch, and you're going to do that 8 times around this corner shell. 8 times, so we've got a total of 8 chain 1 spaces but 9 puff stitches because we did an extra one at the beginning there. And then we're going to skip 2 stitches, single crochet in the next one, skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to puff stitch in the next stitch, and then chain 1, skip a stitch, puff stitch in the next stitch 5 times around the smaller shell. Okay, so on the small shells you've got 6 puffs and 5 chain 1 spaces. Again, we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and we are then going to single crochet in the next 10, which will bring us down to that last stitch. Hold on to your tail end to make sure that you don't miss that very last stitch. So there's 10, and then we're going to make 4 single crochet in the next stitches of round 42. So as we did before, that first one, work over the tail end of the previous row, then flick it back, and 3 more. 1, get out of the way, tail end, 2, and 3. Cut your yarn, fasten off. There we go. Okay, so start in the 4th stitch before the first stitch of the previous round. So we've got 4 single crochet there. You're then going to single crochet in the next 10, skip 2, puff stitch in the next stitch, which is the first back post single, and then chain 1, skip a stitch, puff stitch in the next stitch 5 times, skip 2, single crochet, skip 2. Same deal with the puff stitches, so puff stitch first, then chain 1, skip a stitch, puff stitch. Around the large corner shell you're going to repeat that 8 times, so you've got 9 puffs in total. Skip 2, single, skip 2, work around the small shell again, skip 2. You're then going to single crochet in 10, which will bring you down to the last single crochet of the previous round, and then single crochet in the next 4 stitches of round 42. Go ahead and repeat that for the other 3 corners, and remember, do not work your tail ends away yet. Round 47, and oops, getting all tangled. Again, we're going to start in the 4th stitch of round 42 before the first stitch of round 46. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And again, work over that tail end. Okay. Single crochet in the next 13 stitches, making sure you don't skip that first one. That's 13 single crochets, so you've got 1 single crochet left there. We're going to skip that and front post single around the next stitch, which is your first puff stitch. And then, like we've done before when we made these shells earlier, we are going to chain 3, skip the chain 1 space, front post single around the next stitch, and we're going to do that 5 times. Our 5th repeat ends with the front post around that last puff stitch. We're then going to single crochet in the next stitch, front post single around the next stitch, and then again chain 3, front post single around the next stitch, but this time we're going to do that 8 times. So the 8th repeat brings us to the last puff stitch. We're then going to single in the next stitch, front post single around the next stitch, and then chain 3, front post single around the next stitch, and we're going to do that 5 times. And that's our 5th repeat. We're then going to skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next 13. So again, double check your count as you're coming along here, because the 13th single crochet that you make will land in the last stitch of round 46. Nearly there. Okay, that's number 13. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches of round 42. Okay, so again, work that first one over the previous tail end, and then that's 2, 3, 4. Cut your yarn, fasten off, and let me just zoom out a weeny bit. There we go. Okay, again, don't worry if everything's all wobbly bobbly. It will work itself out in the next few rounds as we complete the corner. Okay, so 4 stitches into round 42. You've then got 13 single crochet. Skip 1, front post single around the next puff stitch, and then chain 3, front post single all the way round, single into single crochet there, same thing around the corner shell, single into the single, same thing around that next small shell, skip the next stitch, single crochet in 13, making sure the 13th one comes into that last stitch of round 46, single crochet in the next 4 stitches of round 42. Go ahead and do that on all 4 corners. Round 48, and again we're going to join with a standing single crochet in the 4th stitch of round 42 before the first stitch of round 47. 1, 2, 3, 4. And single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and again the third one, work over the tail of the previous round. Okay, and then single crochet in the next 15 stitches, making sure that you don't miss that first one. 15 single crochet, and you've got 2 single crochet left. So we're now going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then make a 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. So yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2. And we're going to do that 3 times. Okay, so just through the first 2 loops. So we've got 4 loops on a hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. So we've got a 3 double crochet cluster. We're then going to chain 1, and we're going to make 2 single crochet in the next 2 chain 1 spaces of round 46. which means we're going to be working behind round 47. Okay, so 2 single crochet in there, and then 2 single crochet in the next one. Okay, we're going to make 3 single crochet in the next 2 chain spaces. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're working behind our front post and chain loops into the chain 1 spaces. So we've got 2, 2, 3 and 3. We're then going to chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, and then into the single crochet from round 47 we're going to make a 3 treble cluster. So yarn over twice, into a stitch, through 2 and through 2, yarn over twice, pull up a loop, and then through 2 and through 2. Okay, so we've got 4 loops on a hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space of round 47, and then in the next one in the next 3, in fact, we're going to make 3 single crochet. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to mark that chain 2 space, because that now becomes our corner space. And then we're going to make 3 single crochet in the next 3 chain 1 spaces. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then third space, 1, 2, 3. Following the pattern, chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, and we're going to make another 3 treble cluster into a single crochet. Okay. Okay, so you've got 3 partial trebles, and then we join them all together. Oops. My yarn's running all over the place. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, and then 3 single crochet in the next 2 chain 1 spaces. 2 and 3, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet in the next 2. 1, 2, and we're going to chain 1, and we're going to make a 3 double crochet cluster into the next single crochet of round 47. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and join them all up. Then we're going to chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 15 stitches. And that 15th single crochet falls in the last single crochet of our previous round. We're then going to make single crochet in the next 4 stitches of round 42. Okay, cut your yarn, fasten off, and let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so starting again in the 4th stitch, round 42, before our last one here. So we've got 4 made into round 42, 15 made into round 47. We then chain 1, skip a stitch, 3 double crochet cluster into the next stitch, which is our last single crochet. 2 single crochet in the next chain 1 space, so we're working behind round 47 and into round 46. So it's 2, 2, 3, 3. Chain 1, skip the last chain 1 space, 3 treble cluster into the single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, and we've then got 3, 3, 3, chain 2 and mark it, 3, 3, 3. Chain 1, skip the last chain 1 space, 3 treble cluster into the single crochet. Chain 1, skip the next chain 1 space, 3, 3, 2, 2, chain 1, 3 double crochet cluster into the first single crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, single crochet in 15, which will bring you to the last stitch there, and then single crochet in the next 4 stitches of round 42. Okay, so go ahead and do that on all 4 corners. Okay, yeah, cut your yarn, but do not secure your ends yet. Round 49, I've just put a darker board behind my work here because I'm working with white, so it's going to make it a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to join with a standing single crochet in the 4th stitch of round 2 before the first stitch of round 48. So 1, 2, 3, there we go, 4. And as before, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And let's just work over that tail end in that 3rd stitch. There we go. Okay. We are then going to single crochet in the next 19 stitches. So again, make sure that you don't miss that very first stitch. Okay, because particularly when you're working all with the same colour, it can be quite easy to miss those stitches. 19 single crochet, and the 19th one, oops, I'm losing everything. There we go. The 19th one will fall into your last single crochet there. Okay, so single crochet in the chain one space, front post single around the cluster, single crochet in the chain one space. You're then going to single crochet in the next 7 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so you've then got 3 single crochet left there. We're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, make a 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch, so that's into the middle one of those 3 single crochet. Okay, so yarn over, in, pull up a loop, yarn over and through 2, and we do that 3 times to make it a 3 double crochet cluster. Okay. Right, now if you are reading the pattern as well as following the video, I've sort of tried to break it up so that each repeat is on a different line, because it's very, very wordy, this row round. Okay, so we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and 3 treble cluster in the next chain 1 space. Okay, so yarn over twice for a treble, through 2 twice. 1, 2, and then through all of your loops. Okay, we're going to do that twice. So chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next chain 1 space. Okay, chain 1, skip the next stitch. Now be careful, because it's very likely that that first stitch has got hidden. Okay, so make sure that you pull that cluster right across so that you can see the top loops of that stitch that you are going to skip. Okay, we're then going to 3 treble cluster in the next stitch. Okay, so it's chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next stitch, and we are going to do that 4 times. Okay, we've done that repeat 4 times. Okay, that's in the chain 1 space, so the repeat is chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We're then going to chain 1 and skip that next stitch, which is the last single crochet before our chain 2 corner space. Okay, in the chain 2 corner space we are going to make a 3 treble cluster, chain 3, and then another 3 treble cluster. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then another cluster. And then as we start to work away from the corner, we're going to be mirroring what we have already done. So let me just whip this one in. Okay. So this time sorry, I've got myself in a little knot. It's because I'm coming to the end of this ball of yarn, so everything's getting a little bit tangled up. There we go. Okay, oops, let's move my stitch marker up into the new chain 3 corner space. Okay, so again, as you're coming out of this chain space, make sure that you can clearly see that first single crochet. Okay, you're going to skip that one, 3 treble cluster in the next stitch, so chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next stitch, and you're going to do that 4 times. Okay, so we've done that 4 times, so chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next chain 1 space, and we're going to do that twice. We're then going to chain 1, and again, because you've worked into a chain space there, just pull over to make sure that you can see that first stitch that you're going to skip, because you're then going to make a 3 double crochet cluster. Okay, so just yarn over once and through 2 loops once. We'll do that 3 times. Okay, through all of them. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next 7. 4, 5, 6 and 7, which takes us to our last single crochet there. We are then going to single crochet in the chain 1 space, front post single around the next stitch, single in the chain 1 space. We're then going to make 19 single crochet, and your 19th single crochet will fall into that last stitch. Okay, we're then going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches of round 42, and again just remember to work over the tail end of the previous round just on that first stitch. Okay, let's go back. As you can see, it's starting to look much more like a corner now. Okay, so start in the 4th stitch before your first stitch of the previous round, and then single crochet in the next 3. You've then got single crochet in 19, single in the chain 1 space, front post single, single in the chain space, 7 single, chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the chain 1 space, and we do that twice. Okay, particularly after these chain spaces, make sure that you're not skipping an extra stitch. Okay, so it's chain 1, skip the next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next stitch 4 times, chain 1, skip the next stitch. Then in the corner, in the chain 2 corner space, you've got a 3 treble cluster, chain 3, 3 treble cluster, and then we've reversed the whole thing coming down. Okay, so in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 treble clusters either side of the corner. You've then got 2 3 double crochet clusters, okay, 1 either side on that small shell, 7 single crochet in between, 19 single, and then 4 into round 42. Okay, go ahead and repeat that on the other 3 corners, and remember, don't sew any of your ends away yet.